So, Dr. Carey, just want to ask, there's a quote that you said in your book that I think is just really powerful. It says, if Christian communities are willing to openly address longstanding issues of racism and ethnocentrism, it could lead to another revival. If we are unable to do so, our numbers may well decline as young people look to other options such as secular humanism. Can you talk to us about this? Because I know so many people right now are talking about revival, crying out for revival, but it really is important for us to have a real understanding of our past and of our history so that we can move forward in the things of God.
The one thing that I love about God, I mean, there's so many things. I mean, there's so many immeasurable things, but I think God is a historian when you think about it. And the Bible is about history too, and it's all there, and it's written in a historical way. And so God wants us to know our history. And when we've been strongest as people is when we've come together. I think about in the book of Acts and how they were together on one accord, and they shared the things that they had, and they were breaking down those ethnic boundaries. I look at the first, the second great awakenings, those times of great revivals, and they were seeking to break down things, and people were doing things differently than they had really ever done it before. And I think about Azusa Street and how different people, different races and ethnicities were coming together. And I look at it now and I'm thinking there's this opportunity for different people to come together on issues of racial justice and to learn and to grow together. And if we do that, I think there's another revival there for us that can make the church so much stronger, so much bigger, so much more wonderful if we just break down those walls and those things that make us uncomfortable, they can make us comfortable. We can become comfortable if we just step out of that comfort zone just a little bit. And I think that's for all of us. And so the opportunity is there. We can reach out. We can engage with people much easier now than we've ever done. If we can do it, we can have another opportunity for revival. If we don't, those other options out there are going to loom for young people. And I think that they're going to accept those other options because they're looking for racial justice, for people to come together. And it's incumbent on us to show that we know a more excellent way. And we can show that if we come together and show us the beauty of Christian love, Christian brotherhood, Christian sisterhood.
Carey, that is so good. And I think that, you know, that is something we certainly are hoping for. Christians should be at the forefront of these things. But let me ask you about a Christian principle that we've all experienced in our own lives because it's how we become a Christian, and that's the principle of forgiveness. And how does forgiveness as the heart of God enter into this entire study of history and question of where we go?
You know, forgiveness, I think, is a gift. And when you forgive, you free yourself and you let things go. And it allows you to move forward. I don't think that any of the people that I studied in this book would have been able to move forward if they didn't understand the power of forgiveness. And that forgiveness, to me, it's like nonviolence. You know, people question Martin Luther King for nonviolence. And he responded and said, nonviolence is strong, it's active, it's being engaged, it's powerful. Forgiveness is active, it's engaged, it's powerful, but it's also what God calls us to do. He calls us to forgive those who hurt us, who harm us, because all of us are sinners. We are living in a fallen world. And so we're falling short on everything. And so when we say that we won't forgive, we elevate ourselves. When we forgive people, we bring ourselves back to where we really are, recognizing that we all are sinners. And so for me, forgiveness means allowing myself to move forward and loving the person who's hurt me, wanting them to be forgiven and also wanting them to be redeemed as well. And so that's why I believe in the power of forgiveness. It's strong, it's powerful, and it's so necessary in a world such as the world that we live in.
Dr. Carey, I appreciate that so much, that forgiveness is key as we move forward in love and the power of Christ. Thank you so much for joining us today and just sharing the history and the wisdom, and just so all of us can have a greater understanding of where God is calling us to be in this time and in this hour.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to come share with you.
It was such an amazing time of just having a conversation. I just want to encourage all of you, if you need a little history lesson, it's just such an incredible book, Unshakable Faith, African-American Stories of Redemption, Hope, and Community. Tom and Amanda, I just think it is so important now more than ever for us to understand our past and our history so that we can all move forward together, because there's so much divide, there's so much separation that's going on, but Christ makes us one in all.
That's right. I love that one of the things he really brought out was that unshakable faith, and how it's time for us to all put that into practice in our own life. So I don't know if you've been the one who's hurt, from something from your past. God is cheering you on. We're cheering you on. And today is the day for you to forgive those who have hurt you. Allow the reconciliation that only Jesus can bring into your heart, and release those other people. You're the only one bound in chains when you hold on to unforgiveness. And I desire for such a move of God. Sydney, I love that you lead the way on this program. I love that God used Dr. Carey as a professor to teach people and to awaken us, because it's time. The church has to awake. We cannot be asleep in the light. You cannot not love your brother and think that God is going to do revival in